Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, your health keeps slipping through your fingers, quietly, invisibly, and without warning? It's a terrifying feeling, especially when your kidneys, the silent workhorses of your body, begin to show signs of strain through rising creatinine levels. What if the root of the problem is hidden in the first hour of your day? On Holistic Health, we uncover natural, science-backed habits to restore balance and protect what matters most: your long-term vitality. In today's video, we reveal the 10 most important morning habits that can lower creatinine levels, ease kidney strain, and support total body wellness. If you've been waking up tired, bloated, or confused about why your health feels off track, you're about to discover how your mornings might be the key to reversing that cycle, starting tomorrow. Section 1. Your morning could be saving, or silently damaging, your kidneys. Most people don't think twice about how they begin their mornings. A cup of coffee, a scroll through the phone, maybe a rush out the door. But as a doctor who's spent over 3 decades caring for patients with kidney disease, I can tell you, those first 60 minutes after waking up could be either protecting your kidneys or pushing them towards silent damage. Your kidneys are responsible for filtering out waste products like creatinine, a byproduct of normal muscle metabolism. When kidney function declines, creatinine builds up in the blood, often with no symptoms until it becomes dangerous. Surprisingly, what you do each morning can either help flush that waste efficiently or compound the strain. One of the most critical things I've seen neglected is hydration. After 6 to 8 hours of sleep, your body is naturally dehydrated. Your blood becomes more concentrated, making the kidneys work harder to filter it. Drinking 12 to 16 ounces of water, especially warm water, first thing in the morning helps rehydrate the body, improves blood flow to the kidneys, and supports more effective toxin removal. A study published in Nutrition Reviews, 2010, supports this, noting that adequate hydration improves renal plasma flow and glomerular filtration rate, both essential markers of kidney function. Warm water, in particular, can gently stimulate gastrointestinal motility and vasodilation, indirectly helping with circulation and filtration. I've had patients whose creatinine levels dropped slightly just by improving morning hydration routines. One retired truck driver I treated started drinking lemon water daily instead of coffee on an empty stomach. His lab results began to stabilize within 6 weeks. Lemons, rich in citric acid, help prevent calcium-based kidney stones and promote a more alkaline internal environment. This isn't just home remedy lore. A review in Urology Research and Practice, 2018, confirmed the role of citrate in reducing kidney stone formation and minimizing oxidative stress in renal tissue. The biggest lesson I've learned over years of practice: kidney disease doesn't always shout. It whispers. By the time it's loud, it's often late. Small, conscious steps, like drinking warm water with lemon before your body even starts asking for it, can be the kind of silent prevention that adds years to your life. Section 2. The hidden danger of morning workouts on your kidneys. Exercise is often seen as the gold standard of health, but few people realize that the timing and intensity of your workout can dramatically affect your kidneys. Over the years, I've seen patients unintentionally worsen their lab results, all because of what they thought was a healthy morning routine. The kidneys are highly sensitive to muscle metabolism, and when you engage in intense physical activity right after waking, especially on an empty stomach, you're increasing muscle breakdown, which spikes creatinine production. That extra creatinine enters your bloodstream, and if your kidneys are already functioning below optimal levels, they may struggle to clear it efficiently. A study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology, 2009, found that creatinine levels temporarily rise following strenuous resistance exercise, especially in untrained individuals, often leading to false positive signs of kidney dysfunction in lab tests. What many people don't realize is that during the early hours of the day, the body is still transitioning from a catabolic repair state to a fully active state. Cortisol, the stress hormone, peaks in the morning, which already puts mild pressure on your cardiovascular system and kidneys. Piling on high-intensity workouts like fasted HIIT, heavy weightlifting, or distance running during this window only adds to that burden. I recall a middle-aged gym-goer who came in worried about his kidney function after a health check. His creatinine had spiked, but once we adjusted his routine, moving workouts to late morning and adding hydration beforehand, his levels improved without any medication. His story is not unique. What's safer and far more kidney-friendly is starting your morning with low-impact movement. Brisk walking, gentle stretching, yoga, or Tai Chi increases blood flow, activates the lymphatic system, and promotes detoxification without overloading the kidneys. These forms of exercise also help regulate blood pressure and reduce sympathetic nervous system overdrive, two critical factors in preventing chronic kidney disease. According to Kidney International Reports 2021, moderate intensity physical activity is associated with better renal outcomes and slower disease progression in patients with early-stage kidney issues. The takeaway is simple: movement heals, but intensity without context can harm. Your kidneys don't need you to push hard. They need you to move smart. And often, less really is more. Section 3. The morning sunlight. Prescription, nature's vitamin for kidney defense. When we talk about morning health habits, we often focus on food, hydration, or exercise. Rarely do we consider the healing power of sunlight. But morning sun exposure is one of the most overlooked tools for maintaining healthy kidney function, especially for people dealing with elevated creatinine levels. Vitamin D, often called the sunshine vitamin, is actually a hormone precursor. Your skin produces it in response to ultraviolet B, UVB rays, but the transformation doesn't stop there. Once produced, vitamin D must be activated, first by the liver and then crucially by the kidneys. This means the kidneys play a direct role in converting sunlight into a usable, systemic nutrient. When kidney function declines, your body's ability to activate vitamin D diminishes, which contributes to calcium imbalances, inflammation, and vascular stiffness, factors that further damage the kidneys. A meta-analysis published in The Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology, 2013, showed that individuals with low vitamin D levels had significantly higher risks of developing chronic kidney disease and faster disease progression. From clinical experience, I've seen patients with borderline creatinine levels and mild vitamin D deficiency experience improvements in energy, blood pressure regulation, and lab results simply by spending 15 minutes each morning in direct sunlight. Early sunlight exposure, ideally between 8 a.m. and 10 a.m., is the safest and most effective window, offering ample UVB radiation without the risk of skin damage. Beyond kidney activation, morning sun also stimulates serotonin production, which regulates mood, lowers cortisol, and helps normalize blood pressure, a trifecta of benefits for the renal system. There's also compelling evidence, like findings from the Journal of Clinical Investigation, 2008, indicating that vitamin D reduces inflammation by modulating immune responses, directly helping protect renal tissues from oxidative damage. But not everyone has easy access to sunlight year-round. For patients in colder climates or with limited mobility, I recommend supplementing with vitamin D3 after confirming deficiency through blood tests. Food sources like salmon, sardines, and fortified plant-based milks can also help. Still, I firmly believe nothing compares to the biological and emotional benefits of stepping outside and soaking up the morning sun. It's free, natural, and has healing effects modern medicine can't fully replicate. When it comes to protecting your kidneys, sunlight might be one of the most powerful and underused prescriptions I can offer. Section 4. Coffee and caffeine, morning habit or kidney stressor. Coffee is a beloved part of the morning ritual for millions. The aroma, the warmth, the quick mental clarity, it's practically sacred. But for those with compromised kidney function or elevated creatinine, that comforting cup might come at a cost. I've treated dozens of patients who swore by their daily brew, never suspecting it could be silently contributing to kidney stress. Caffeine, the active compound in coffee, is a powerful central nervous system stimulant and a known diuretic. This means it increases urine output, which can sound like a good thing, until you realize it promotes fluid loss before your body is fully hydrated, especially after a night of sleep-induced dehydration. A study in kidney and blood pressure research, 2014, revealed that high caffeine intake is associated with increased urinary calcium and decreased kidney efficiency, particularly in individuals already at risk for renal issues. The more immediate problem is that caffeine spikes cortisol and blood pressure, two major threats to kidney health. Morning is when cortisol levels are naturally highest, and adding a stimulant on top of that puts extra strain on both cardiovascular and renal systems. For people with borderline hypertension or hidden kidney disease, this additional stress can elevate glomerular pressure, accelerating damage. I had a patient, mid-50s, history of borderline creatinine, who was drinking 3 strong coffees before 10 a.m. Once we tapered him down to 1 small cup after a full glass of water, and later transitioned him to herbal alternatives, his blood pressure normalized and his kidney function stabilized over the next 2 lab cycles. There are better options. Herbal teas like ginger, chamomile, nettle, and peppermint not only hydrate but provide anti-inflammatory, digestive, and diuretic support without the side effects of caffeine. A 2021 review in Frontiers in Pharmacology highlighted the renal protective effects of several herbal infusions, especially those with flavonoids and antioxidant compounds. For those who can't part with coffee, I recommend limiting it to 1 moderate cup per day, taken after hydrating with water and food. Better yet, try switching to roasted dandelion root or chicory blends. Both mimic the flavor of coffee and support liver and kidney detoxification. The bottom line is this: morning habits matter, and stimulants like caffeine should be approached with intention. When the kidneys are under pressure, moderation and timing can make the difference between maintenance and decline. Section 5. High-protein breakfasts, fuel, or burden for your kidneys. Protein is often hailed as the king of macronutrients, especially in the context of breakfast. Fitness magazines, diet plans, and wellness influencers all promote the idea that a protein-packed meal, eggs, bacon, sausage, protein shakes, is the ultimate way to energize your morning. But if you're dealing with elevated creatinine or early signs of kidney dysfunction, that seemingly healthy habit may actually be setting you back. I've seen this firsthand in clinic after clinic. Patients committed to high-protein diets reporting worsening lab values despite otherwise clean lifestyles. What many people don't realize is that protein metabolism produces nitrogenous waste, particularly urea and creatinine, that must be filtered out by the kidneys. When you overload your system with protein early in the day, you're giving your kidneys a heavy workload before they've fully recovered from their overnight filtration cycle. Research backs this up. A clinical study published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases, 2009, found that high protein intake was associated with increased glomerular pressure and hyperfiltration in patients with mildly reduced kidney function. Over time, this contributes to scarring and functional decline. And it's not just about the quantity, but also the type and timing of protein. Animal-based proteins, especially processed meats, come with higher phosphorus, sodium, and saturated fats, all of which have been linked to faster progression of kidney disease. I recall a patient in his late 60s who was eating a keto-style breakfast of eggs, cheese, and sausage every morning. His creatinine crept upward each quarter, and despite being well hydrated and active, his kidneys were under constant strain. Once we transitioned him to a balanced breakfast, oatmeal with berries and flaxseed, or avocado toast with cucumber and olive oil, his values began trending in the right direction within 3 months. This doesn't mean protein is bad. It means that moderation and timing matter, especially for those with renal concerns. Plant-based proteins like chia seeds, almonds, and tofu offer a gentler metabolic footprint and often come packaged with fiber, antioxidants, and healthy fats, all of which reduce inflammation and support kidney health. Ultimately, the kidneys are like any hardworking filter. They do best when we don't flood them all at once. Easing into the day with nutrient-rich, kidney-friendly foods gives your system space to perform optimally without being overwhelmed. Section 6. What a kidney-friendly breakfast looks like. Your first meal of the day doesn't just fuel your energy, it sets the tone for how your kidneys will function for the next several hours. For individuals concerned about elevated creatinine levels or early kidney disease, breakfast can be a powerful tool or an invisible threat. A kidney-friendly breakfast isn't just low in protein. It's thoughtfully designed to reduce inflammation, control blood pressure, and ease the metabolic burden placed on the kidneys after an overnight fast. One of the most effective morning choices I recommend to my patients is oatmeal. Unlike processed cereals loaded with phosphorus additives and sodium, Plain rolled oats offer soluble fiber that helps regulate blood sugar and cholesterol, two key factors in slowing kidney decline. A study in Nutrients, 2020, found that high-fiber diets were associated with improved kidney function markers and reduced uremic toxins, particularly in patients with chronic kidney disease. What you pair with oatmeal matters too. Topping it with antioxidant-rich fruits like blueberries, apples, or strawberries adds polyphenols that fight oxidative stress, one of the main contributors to kidney scarring and vascular damage. For those who prefer savory flavors, a great alternative is whole grain toast topped with avocado, a source of healthy monounsaturated fats that reduce systemic inflammation without burdening the kidneys with excess protein. I've guided dozens of patients through simple breakfast swaps like these, and many report not only better lab results, but improved digestion and energy throughout the morning. Smoothies can also be a convenient and kidney-supportive option, if they're built the right way. I suggest using unsweetened almond milk, berries, chia seeds, and a handful of greens like kale or parsley. These ingredients offer hydration, antioxidants, and gentle diuretic properties, supporting detoxification without overstimulation. It's important to avoid high-sodium, high-phosphorus foods during breakfast, such as deli meats, processed cheese, and fast food options, which can raise blood pressure and contribute to phosphorus buildup in patients with impaired filtration. Research in Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, 2011, clearly links excess dietary phosphorus to faster progression of kidney disease. A good breakfast for your kidneys doesn't need to be bland or boring. It just needs to be balanced, plant-forward, and easy on the systems that keep your body running. When you build your mornings with care, your kidneys feel it, and they thank you silently every single day. Section 7. Creatine supplements, why they might be harming your kidneys. In the world of fitness and bodybuilding, creatine supplements are almost a badge of honor, praised for improving strength, endurance, and muscle recovery. But for individuals monitoring their creatinine levels or concerned about kidney health, this popular supplement may be doing more harm than good. Creatine is a compound naturally stored in muscle and used to rapidly generate energy during intense activity. But here's the catch. When you ingest additional creatine through supplements, your body metabolizes it into creatinine, the very waste product your kidneys are tasked with removing. I've had patients come to me in a panic after routine lab work showed elevated creatinine levels, suspecting the worst, only to reveal later that they had recently started a creatine regimen. This isn't a rare event. A study in Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology, 2008, confirmed that oral creatine intake leads to increased serum creatinine, which can mimic signs of renal dysfunction, even in healthy individuals. While this spike may be reversible in people with normal kidney function, those with early-stage kidney disease may not have the reserve to handle the increased metabolic waste. Over time, chronic supplementation can lead to water retention, electrolyte imbalances, and unnecessary stress on an already sensitive filtration system. I once treated a 39-year-old amateur weightlifter whose creatinine rose steadily over several months, despite his otherwise healthy diet and lifestyle. Once we discontinued the creatine supplements and replaced them with a more kidney-friendly muscle recovery strategy, including hydration, anti-inflammatory foods, and magnesium, his values normalized within 2 follow-up appointments. It's also important to remember that many commercial creatine powders aren't just pure creatine. They're often loaded with artificial sweeteners, stabilizers, dyes, and high-protein boosters, all of which add additional burden to your kidneys. A 2022 review in Nutrients highlighted that individuals with even mildly reduced renal function should avoid unregulated supplementation, particularly those targeting performance enhancement. If muscle maintenance is your goal, you don't need creatine supplements to get there. A whole food-based approach with plant proteins like lentils, hemp seeds, tofu, and complex carbohydrates can provide the energy and building blocks your body needs without creating excess nitrogenous waste. Your kidneys are powerful, but they aren't invincible. Every decision matters, especially the ones you make before breakfast. Section 8. Kidney-supporting supplements, what helps, what hurts, and how to use them wisely. Supplements often feel like shortcuts, tiny pills or powders promising big results. For people concerned about kidney health, particularly those monitoring their creatinine levels, The market is flooded with products claiming to support renal detox, enhance filtration, or even reverse damage. But the truth is, not all supplements are helpful. In fact, some may do more harm than good. Over the years, I've seen patients improve kidney health with carefully selected supplements, but I've also seen others unknowingly worsen their condition with well-meaning but poorly chosen pills. When it comes to kidney health, there are three main goals for supplementation: reduce inflammation, support natural detoxification, and maintain healthy blood pressure and circulation. One of the most well-studied and effective supplements in this category is omega-3 fatty acids, primarily from fish oil. Omega-3s help reduce inflammation in the glomeruli, the tiny filtering units inside the kidneys. A randomized controlled trial published in Kidney International, 2009, showed that omega-3 supplementation slowed the progression of IgA nephropathy, one of the leading causes of kidney failure worldwide. I routinely recommend omega-3s to my patients, especially those with early-stage kidney issues and coexisting cardiovascular concerns. The key is dosage. Look for 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA daily, and make sure the source is pure and third-party tested to avoid heavy metals. Another supplement I've found promising in clinical settings is coenzyme Q10, CoQ10. It's an antioxidant that supports cellular energy production and protects the mitochondria from oxidative stress. Since the kidneys are high-energy demand organs, CoQ10 plays a direct role in preserving their function. A meta-analysis in Current Medical Research and Opinion, 2019, reported significant reductions in serum creatinine and improvement in estimated glomerular filtration rate, eGFR, in patients supplemented with CoQ10 over several months. I recall a case involving a 67-year-old woman with stage 3 CKD and low energy levels. After introducing 200 milligrams of CoQ10 along with dietary adjustments, not only did her creatinine stabilize, but her fatigue improved dramatically. Herbal supplements, on the other hand, are a bit more complex. Some, like nettle leaf, dandelion root, and astragalus, have traditionally been used in Chinese and Ayurvedic medicine to support kidney and liver detox. Nettle is a gentle diuretic that can help flush excess fluids without depleting minerals. Dandelion supports bile flow and metabolic waste removal. Astragalus has shown promise in reducing proteinuria, as supported by a study in Phytotherapy Research, 2014, which found improvements in renal biomarkers in patients using astragalus over a 12-week period. However, not all herbs are safe, especially in supplement form. Here's where things get risky. Supplements containing high doses of vitamin C, potassium, or unregulated herbal blends can accumulate in the blood when kidney filtration is impaired. High-dose vitamin C, often marketed for immunity, can lead to oxalate buildup and stone formation. Potassium-based supplements, even in the form of natural electrolyte mixes, can cause hyperkalemia, a dangerous elevation of blood potassium levels that affects heart rhythm and can be life-threatening. I've seen several patients end up in the emergency room, not because of disease progression, but because of misused over-the-counter supplements they assumed were harmless. My advice is this: don't supplement blindly. Always base your decision on recent lab work and consult with a practitioner who understands both nutrition and nephrology. Supplements are meant to support, not replace, the fundamentals: hydration, nutrition, sleep, and stress management. And they should never be used reactively like medication. They work best as part of a consistent, long-term wellness strategy. In my years of clinical practice, the most successful patients were not those who took the most pills, but those who took the right ones at the right time for the right reasons. If you're dealing with elevated creatinine or early kidney issues, a handful of carefully selected supplements might help stabilize your function and protect what you have left. But the wrong ones, even if they look natural, can quietly accelerate the damage. Be smart, read labels, ask questions, and never forget: your kidneys are incredibly resilient when given the right support. Section 9. Morning monitoring. Why blood pressure and blood sugar levels matter for your kidneys. If you've ever wondered what quiet, early warning signs your body might be giving you about your kidney health, Look no further than your blood pressure and blood sugar levels, especially in the morning. These two metrics are deeply intertwined with kidney function, and for many of my patients over the years, early morning monitoring has been the key to preventing irreversible decline. The kidneys are densely packed with delicate blood vessels, and their function depends entirely on healthy, regulated blood flow. When your blood pressure is elevated, even slightly, it creates intense pressure inside the glomeruli, the microscopic filters within the kidneys. Over time, this high pressure causes structural damage, reduces filtration efficiency, and accelerates scarring, a process known as glomerulosclerosis. Research from the American Society of Nephrology, 2016, shows that individuals with uncontrolled hypertension are up to 4 times more likely to develop chronic kidney disease compared to those with stable readings. Similarly, consistently high morning blood sugar is an often overlooked threat. For people with insulin resistance or type 2 diabetes, fasting glucose levels tend to spike due to something called the dawn phenomenon, a hormonal surge in the early hours meant to wake the body, but which also drives up blood glucose. If left unmanaged, this glucose damages the capillaries in the kidney, eventually leading to diabetic nephropathy, a leading cause of kidney failure in the U.S. I once treated a 59-year-old man who swore his diabetes was under control because he ate well during the day, but his morning glucose levels told a different story. His fasting blood sugars averaged around 130 to 140 milligrams per deciliter, slowly but steadily eroding his kidney function despite no symptoms. Once we focused on improving sleep quality, meal timing, and added a short evening walk, his morning levels dropped and his creatinine plateaued. No medication changes needed. Checking your numbers first thing in the morning, before food, caffeine, or stress, gives you the most accurate snapshot of your metabolic and vascular status. For blood pressure, a consistent reading under 120 over 80 millimeters of mercury is ideal. For fasting glucose, the target is typically under 100 milligrams per deciliter unless otherwise advised. I recommend using a home monitor that tracks trends over time rather than relying on one-off readings. This helps you and your doctor make informed, proactive decisions instead of reacting to symptoms after damage has occurred. The lesson I've learned through years of nephrology and internal medicine is simple. What you measure, you can manage. And in kidney care, early intervention is everything. Morning tracking of your blood pressure and blood sugar isn't just data. It's your daily check-in with the systems that keep your kidneys alive and working. If you care about protecting your renal function, start your day not just with food or supplements, but with clarity. Because what you catch early, you can still correct. Section 10. Sleep, the silent healer. Your kidneys depend on. Most people think kidney health begins with what you eat or drink in the morning, but in reality, it starts the night before, with sleep. Over the years, I've treated hundreds of patients dealing with elevated creatinine levels, and a pattern I've seen repeatedly is poor sleep quality. They're not always aware of it either. Some toss and turn. Others wake up frequently or struggle to fall asleep altogether. And while these patterns might seem unrelated to kidney health, they are, in fact, deeply connected. During sleep, your body shifts into a parasympathetic, restorative state. This is when tissue repair occurs, hormones are regulated, and waste filtration by the kidneys intensifies. If you're not getting enough deep sleep, or if your sleep is fragmented, you're interrupting this critical detoxification cycle. A landmark study published in Hypertension, 2014, found that individuals who consistently slept fewer than 6 hours per night had a 1.5-fold higher risk of developing kidney function decline over time, compared to those who averaged 7 to 8 hours. Sleep deprivation elevates cortisol and increases sympathetic nervous system activity, both of which raise blood pressure and blood glucose, two major drivers of kidney damage. It also disrupts the natural circadian rhythm of kidney function itself. Yes, your kidneys follow a daily clock. Filtration rates change depending on the time of day, and optimal function occurs when your sleep-wake cycle is aligned. When that rhythm is disturbed, whether due to stress, erratic schedules, or screen time before bed, your kidneys pay the price. I've worked with patients who did everything right during the day, hydrated, ate clean, exercised smart, but still saw their kidney numbers worsen. Once we addressed their sleep hygiene, reducing blue light exposure, setting a consistent bedtime, managing nighttime anxiety with breathing exercises or magnesium supplements, their blood pressure normalized, creatinine stabilized, and energy levels returned. I'll never forget one case. A retired teacher in her 70s whose eGFR improved from 54 to 64 in 6 months without any new medication. All we changed was her sleep. If you want to protect your kidneys, sleep must be non-negotiable. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of high-quality sleep in a cool, dark, and quiet environment. Avoid heavy meals or stimulants close to bedtime. Wind down with practices that calm the mind, meditation, stretching, or even soft music. Remember, your kidneys work hardest when you're resting. Give them the recovery time they need, because sometimes the most powerful medicine isn't in a bottle. It's found in silence, stillness, and the deep rhythms of a restful night. Your kidneys may not speak loudly, but they listen carefully to how you treat them each morning. Whether it's choosing warm water over coffee, opting for a fiber-rich breakfast instead of heavy protein, or stepping into the morning sun instead of staying in bed, these choices matter. They reduce strain, lower creatinine, and give your kidneys the support they need to do their job well. Remember, it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Small, thoughtful changes in your morning routine can protect your kidneys more than you think. I've seen these shifts work for real patients, and they can work for you too. If this video gave you something useful, insight, motivation, or a new habit to try, please like the video and subscribe to Holistic Health. We're here to guide you with honest, science-backed advice to help you live stronger, longer, and better, one morning at a time.